Just quickly guys, I have a new Norwegian channel called Elbilkris where I've already dropped a range test of this car but going 80 and 100 kilometers an hour. I'll link that video down below, so please check out that video and subscribe to my new Norwegian channel because we're really trying to get that channel to 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Now, on with this video. Today we are once again range testing the new Volvo EX90, but this time the non-performance twin motor. So today's big question is, will the non-performance version of the EX90 have more range and better efficiency than the performance version? Well, to find out, stay tuned. The short answer to that question is no. Well, I think no. That is my prediction for this video, though I think the 21-inch wheels are going to make this car a little bit more efficient than with 22-inch wheels. We've already run this car with 21-inch wheels, but I think the motors are the exact same. They are just tuned differently. And also guys, I only have this car again just for a few days. I'm gonna have this car for a proper week of testing in another few weeks, but I just wanted to get in a quick range test with the non-performance version, so I won't be doing my noise measurements with this car. But we already ran this car with 22-inch wheels, and I don't think there's going to be much of a difference because the tire width is the same. If I'm not mistaken, it's only, you know, the profile that is lower with the 22-inch wheels. But like before, and like all the times I've driven the EX90, this is such a quiet and comfortable car. The seats are amazing, the suspension is amazing, and this is the first time I'm driving this car with 21-inch wheels and on-air suspension. Well, I've driven it before in northern Sweden on ice, on snowy roads, but not, you know, on proper dry roads as we are doing here. And I just picked this car up, so I'm gonna do, you know, again, a review of this car to give you guys my opinion if this is maybe the car to get the non-performance with the smaller wheels. Well, we'll see today what the range is gonna be. So let's take a look at the consumption after driving for about, let's see, what does the timer says, 25 minutes-ish, 30 minutes, 45 kilometers. Our average consumption is 24.0 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. But according to the wind map, we are heading towards a little bit of a headwind from the northwest, so not a straight headwind, but from the northwest of about 3 to 4 meters per second. So I'm guessing that may actually affect the consumption a little bit. But when we passed, you know, the bridge earlier today, there's like this wind socket and it looked pretty calm. So I'm not entirely sure. And also, this car is such a pleasure to drive with the advanced driver assistance systems, the lane centering, the adaptive cruise control. It just works flawlessly. The car tracks pretty much in the middle of the car, no phantom braking, no nervousness around, you know, exits and on-ramps and passing trucks. It's just so confidence inspiring driving this car on the motorway. It's just a real pleasure. And even though this car, you know, has, or this brand Volvo have Chinese owners, pretty much the whole car was developed in Europe, in Sweden, and also across the Atlantic in the US. And yeah, it's kind of flawless. Like, no software issues with this car. There have been a few software issues, you know, small things here and there with early cars I drove, but with this, seems to be worked out pretty nicely. So guys, let's continue on now northward, and I'll update you guys once we get to our turnaround point in Moelv. We are now approaching our turnaround point here in Moelv, which is our halfway point. And the weather still about the same, 20 degrees Celsius now, dry roads and partly cloudy. Pretty good conditions to get, you know, that best efficiency. So let's jump into the trip computer here, which is there. And average consumption is 24 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And also, before we set off, the route planner predicted we would arrive here with 63 or 64%. We're here with 66, so we're here with a little bit more. and the car predicts we're going to arrive back with 41% when we started this trip today. So let's see if that's going to be accurate. Now let's continue on southward back to where we started this range test. And it's going to be interesting to see if we'll arrive with 41% stated charge as the car predicted, or more or less, and also see what the actual final consumption will be after this 2-hour, 200-kilometer range test. So we are now here close to the chargers, and what we're going to do now is we're going to connect to one of these chargers, and then we're going to see what charge speed we get after a few hours on the road. No preconditioning. This car does have active preconditioning by the navigation system. We don't do that in this test because this test is all about getting that maximum efficiency. That means the lowest consumption, and if we use energy to heat up the battery, then we're using energy to heat up the battery, then we're going to have higher consumption. So we're now here. We are here with 44% stated charge, which is 3% more than the car predicted. That is very good. And then we're going to take a look at the consumption, which we have here. But I'm not going to reveal it before the end of the video. So first, let's connect to one of these chargers and see what kind of charge speed we get now at 44% stated charge. Okay, so we've now connected to the charger. I've connected the connector to the car, which is here on the driver's side. What I really like about the charge port is that it's not power operated, so you're not going to have problems in winter. It's not going to break. It's just a reliable and nice action. Okay guys, 44% stated charge. We saw a very brief peak at like 160, and then it throttled down to 120 kilowatts, which seems to be what we're getting now at 44% stated charge. 122 kilowatts. Not impressive, but I mean, it is what it is. No preconditioning. I guess it's okay. When it comes to charging, the EX90 has a few caveats. So Volvo claimed 250 kilowatts of peak charge speed, but that is only on a Tesla supercharger, because on a normal CCS2 charger, which we have here, that can output a maximum of 500 amps. And when you consider the battery is 400 volts, that is 200 kilowatts. So that's going to be your peak charge speed either way on one of these chargers. So how do you get that 250 kilowatts? Well, if you go to a Tesla supercharger, they can output 625 amps. And when you do the maths, that's 250 kilowatts. Because Tesla superchargers are Tesla's proprietary, that's a hard word, proprietary technology, which can output whatever they want. Yes, there is a CCS connector on them, but they are not CCS chargers in the same way as these are CCS chargers. How they're able to get away with outputting 625 amps when they're connecting a non-Tesla is beyond me. It's kind of a hack, but that is what it is. Now let's take a look at the results. And this is a car we've run so many times now. I've run the performance version on 22-inch wheels here in Norway. I've done 2 or 3 range tests in Spain with the performance version with 21-inch wheels, and now we're running the non-performance with 21-inch wheels. And my prediction at, well, not at the beginning, but early in the video was that, yeah, no difference in range and consumption, performance and non-performance. So the average consumption today was 24 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. And as per usual, this car does not have a decimal point behind that, so we really don't know if it's 24.4 or if it's 23.5. We're just going to round it up to 24.0 and use that as our calculation. So when we do that, we take the usable battery capacity of this car, 107 kilowatt hours, and then we divide that by the consumption and subtract 3% for heat and discharging losses. Gives this car a theoretical range under today's conditions of 432 kilometers, which, if you saw my EX90 versus Polestar 3 dual comparison range test in Spain, that is exactly what we got. 24 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and that's 432 kilometers of range. If we had a decimal point, maybe there could have been a half, kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers in there, or maybe even more, giving these two cars actually different consumption and different results. But we just can only work with what we have. We can only work with what we have. So guys, let me know what you think about the results down below. I think that is actually pretty good for being such a large car, going 120 kilometers an hour constant on the motorway. It's not bad at all. More than 400 kilometers of real world range. But if you want to see how much range this car gets at 180 kilometers an hour, which is obviously more, and by how much, well, check my Norwegian range test down below. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below, and for more car content, as always, please subscribe. See you guys later, and goodbye.